Right, water is over 15 degrees now. Most venues are going to be 18, 19, maybe 20 degrees. So that means one thing for me: high vibration search baits. All right, cover a lot of water, fish very, very quickly, and looking for the most aggressive ones in the shoal, but covering huge amounts of water. So if you're on a river or a canal, you're covering large expanses of water. They're often spread out, and you're looking for those concentrations of fish. You'll run down a bank for 300 or 400 yards sometimes without a bite, and then you get a pull, then you get another pull 5 yards away. That's the time that you've then found them using your search baits, and you want to swap over to some of your other, it's what I call go through your rotation. Go through the rotation of other presentations. You can fish a soft plastic, you could fish it whatever, you can fish a Ned or a Tokyo or whatever, drop shot if you wanted. Not really my style in this temperature of water, but that's the point. You find them with fast moving baits that you can cover a lot of water quickly. All right, that's this time of year, and I can't move on from the subject of crankbaits without talking about these little beauties. So Jorgen Larsson, let's get his little face up there. There's Jorgen, absolute perch fishing legend. I'd now like to think I've done a couple of podcasts with him, spoken on the phone a few times, never met in person, but I absolutely love Jorgen's philosophy. He's a brilliant angler. Just amounts of experience he's got is second to none. All right, total respect for him. And he has designed 3 new special edition colors. So I don't know the exact names, pearl something and whatever. We're going to call them gold, green, and he's got a silvery one. So I'm going to run through them quickly. And we've got them in raw bite, 7 centimeter raw bite, and the 5 centimeter. That's a sharp hook. Stop doing that. 5 centimeter buzz bite. Now, anyone that knows me knows I can't rate the buzzbite highly enough. It is literally the best perch fishing crankbait in the world, bar none. Honestly, I've tried most of them. But let's go through the colours first. So we've got this beautiful kind of silver one. You can never really go wrong with silver. Evolutionary, like all silver bait fish are the easiest to digest. They're the most abundant in most waters. So when you've got bleak, roach, skimmers, chublets, all of those silver based ones, they come in huge shoals. They're really easy to digest. They haven't got spikes and fins like perch. And so I think there's something in the back of most predators' minds that always think silver, nice and tasty, I'll have some of that. So you can't go wrong with silver. And I really like this one. It's got a little bit of an yellow dab there on the throat, which I do like as a little hot spot, but a little bit of silver, a little bit of black. And again, check out the flake size. I really like this. They're not too big. Always remember, flake size is the mirror. All right, so if you've got clear water, the bigger the flake size, the bigger the mirror. Sometimes it's just a little bit too much, catches too much light, reflects too much light. When you've got a small flake size in there, see how that kind of shimmers? Absolutely beautiful. Little bit more natural, little bit more subtle. So these for me are more at the clear end of the scale than they are the dirty water end of the scale. All right, but love that silver one. Moving on to this one. Now I think I know where this has come from. I know how much Jorgen loves Gold Rush. So the original one was called Official Roach, golden, yellowy sort of sides, orange belly. Then we, last year, 2 years ago maybe, released one called Gold Rush, which has got more flake in it. A little bit of a change, but a variation on Official Roach, and has been an absolute slayer as a colour and one of the best sellers for us as Westin. And here's Jorgen's take on it. Now, I really like the sort of black back and the black stripe that he's got going through there. Again, like I said, little bit of gold shimmer flake. It's not too bright, it's not too aggressive, and it's got orange belly. So if anyone watches any of my content, I'm always talking about 4 crankbaits in particular. Orange belly versus no orange belly. You have to have both of these in your tackle box. All right, some days it is just what they want. It is the orange on the belly that they want. Don't know why. Little bit of an indication. Sometimes when I'm fishing up in the water, an orange belly can really shine. Sometimes with Zander, they can be super tuned into an orange belly as well. But for some reason, there seems to be days when it's orange belly, or no orange belly, and you'll definitely get bites or one or the other. So you've got to have both of those variations in your box. All right, so I'm loving that. One of them's got an orange belly, and this is the last one. Now, it's got a little bit of green. I'm loving the way it's a dark green through the middle and then comes up to a light green there. It's got a little bit of a see-through nature to it, so it's going to let a little bit of light through. It's got a beautiful sort of orange reddy cheek. No orange on the belly, but anything with a bit of green in. I fish so many venues that have got perch fry that go absolutely nuts. The perch manage to breed so efficiently in these waters that you end up with huge clouds, and they become a real staple diet of those predators. So when you've got venues like that and you've identified it, most of the time you'll see clouds of them, and you'll end up foul hooking one or two because the shoals get so dense of those bait fish. And if you foul hook one and bring it up and it's a perch like that, get something on with a bit of green in it. It will be absolutely killer, trust me. So I always love green. And you know what? There's not a million variations of green style baits out there. It doesn't seem to be a super popular kind of colour. Bling perch is my favourite in the buzzbite range. But if we did a bling perch that had a little bit more green in it, that would be better, trust me. All right, so there we go. There's the colours. Now I'm going to roll on to a little bit of when would I use the raw bite 7 centimetres versus the buzzbite 5 centimetres. Now, the buzzbite I use most often, due to the depth of the venues that I fish, is the 6 centimetre. When I'm fishing on boats, the 6 centimetre gets a little bit more depth. I get 10, 10 and a half, long cast, 11 foot maybe when I'm fishing braid on it. The 5 centimetre is more of a bank fishing one for me. Doesn't get too deep, so you're not going to get too snagged up on weeds or any bankside vegetation, that type of stuff. But the buzzbite, as the name suggests, it's got a buzz, it's got a hum to it. It's not too aggressive, all right? Now, crankbaits as a category are aggressive, but you can be too aggressive with your crankbait sometimes. And I find for perch fishing, the buzzbite is just unbelievably effective. I cannot tell you how many times this has got me out of a pickle in tournaments. Catching perch, pike, zander, but perch in particular, it seems to have a vibration rate, very, very high vibration rate. So you'll feel that on the tip, it's brrr, very, very high cadence. And I really like that. I tend to fish them pretty quick. They pause and suspend on the pause, which I really, really like, but don't pause them for too long, especially if the water's quite quick. This is like a game of cat and mouse. You know, when you've got a cat or a kitten and you're playing with a ball of string and whatever, if you stop moving the ball of string, it's not interested anymore. It's all about speed, all right? So this guy here, I go from medium, but most of the time I'm medium fast, all up to as quick as I can wind before it destabilizes and rolls, all right? So this, for me, is where I start. I can virtually always guarantee a few bites on it. And this 5 centimetre on the lip there says it runs 1 to 2 metres, which is 3 to 6 foot. Yeah, on braid, I can probably creep a little bit more. I might even get 7 foot out of this 5 centimetre jobby. But again, if you're fishing from the bank and you want to fish a bit shallower, keep your rod up. Yeah, wind, keep it up. Wind, keep it up. You'll keep that line higher angle of the braid, and you'll keep it up in the water. If you put your rod all the way down to the surface, you can get up to 7 foot. And then there's the last little tip called kneel and reel. So this is generally when I'm fishing on the boats. If I need to get extra depth out of a crankbait, I'm putting my knees on the water, on the boat deck. I'm leaning my rod and sinking 3, 4, 5 foot of my rod over the side into the water, down deep, and then I can probably creep that one down to about 9 foot if I needed to. But you can control the depth that you're running them at. Rod, shallow, normal, kneel and reel, get it deeper. All right. On this one, again, saying 1.5 to 2 meters. So we're going down rough sort of depth range-ish. I see this as a little bit of a shallower bait, plus it's got a square bill on it. This is, if I've got shallow rocky banks, is an absolute brute, all right? It's got a little bit louder rattles in than the buzzbite has. It's got definitely a wider wobble. It's got a chunkier profile to it. This has got a lot more presence in the water. So I want this for when they're super aggressive feeding, when I'm looking almost exclusively just for better style fish. I tend to have less bites on this style than the buzz bite, but there'll be a bigger stamp of fish overall. But also this is absolutely amazing, banging it into rocky banks. If I've got a rocky bank that's anywhere between 3 and 7 foot deep, this square bill is going to dive down, it's going to bang around in those rocks, it's going to be really aggressive, and they freaking love it. All right, so fish it. You can feel it on the rod tip. It'll be bouncing around like this, you know, digging into some rocks and some gravel on the bottom. And then suddenly it just goes whang all the way around with a big perch on. Absolute magic. So buzz bite, I can fish digging into the bottom, but it's an absolutely superb bait when you're fishing up a little bit. So goes down to, like we said, 7 foot or so. I'd happily fish that in water down to sort of 15 or so foot. This one, as a square bill, it's all about diving in around those rocks, stirring that mud up onto the bottom. Again, I can fish it up in the water a little bit, but I just like this as a shallow bank square bill, dive it around, get deflection, and as soon as it hops off the center line, that's when they're going to nail it. All right, so I fished them a couple of different ways. This one's more aggressive, banging into the bottom. This one's a little bit less aggressive, and I like fishing these up in the water a little bit more. So there you go, guys. Don't forget, though, they've got trebles on, so always put a wire trace. If you're perch fishing, £10, £11 wire, AFW, knottable stuff. Keep it super streamlined. Just one little loop at one end, one little clip at the other end, 12 to 15 inches. It doesn't affect your perch fishing. It does if you're fishing slow. If you're fishing Ned rigs or plastics, it definitely affects your presentation with wire on. But for crankbaits, trust me, I've caught so many freaking perch now, like big uns on cranks, and I fish wire most of the time because we've got pike around. So when you got a treble on, either that or swap it over to a single. If you do get bitten off by a pike, they can generally throw a single. That's not too much of an issue, but I keep the trebles on, and that means I've got wire on most of the time, but it doesn't affect my perch fishing, mostly because they haven't got time to even look at the bait. They just slash out at it. They definitely haven't got time with the pace that I put on it. They definitely haven't got time to look at the trays. There you go, guys. Put some pace on your reel. Get the crankbaits out. It's over 15 degrees. Cheers. I'll see you on the next one.